Well, that was different. So, this morning, we had a really rolly night, and it was getting better all morning. It's really nice right now, comparatively speaking. But this morning, I was working on identifying and labeling all the wires that come through the bulkhead that go up to the mast and then go in for the lights and the speakers and all that sort of stuff. And trying to there's one light that I found it's my steaming light. I found the wire that sends power to the steaming light, and it's getting the power going. What I believe is the other end of it, which I believe goes up to the steaming light. The steaming light's not coming on, so I think maybe when we get with the Irish lads again, I'll put Bob up the mast and he'll see if the bulb's burned out or something like that. But anyway, after I got done with that, I started doing a few other things, and then figured I'd take a little nap. Chrysalida started to make her famous lentils for our passage, because like I say, it's gonna be 48 hours, 50 hours, something like that, of when we leave tomorrow. So I just kind of laying there in the bunk, and I hear this, and I was like, what was that? So I go outside, and there's a great big Guardia de Finance boat. It's the customs boat, and they're over here, and they're fixing to come alongside. That's going to be a disaster. They're a big metal boat, and I'm a plastic boat. If anybody's going to give it, it's going to be us. So they were saying, they asked where we were from, so I said the United States, and they said they want my documentation. I said, yeah, no problem. So I went down below, and I have everything in a bag, and it, with the exception of the passports and my MMC, my Merchant Mariner credential, other than that, everything is copies. So I have all the originals in my docs binder for the boat. And anyway, I came out, and you could see they're getting fenders ready, and I yell over to them. I'm like, I just come over the dinghy, and the captain running things up in the fly bridge was like, he liked that idea because he knew it wasn't going to be good either. So I jumped in my dinghy and I went over there, and it was kind of cool. I had everything all in there, so I didn't have to make another trip. From the licensing to the insurance to the customs and immigration, and I even had in there, but they don't know what it is, or they didn't see it, or they were just checking with me. But they asked me where I'm going next, and if they look, one of the papers in there is I've registered online. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze here. Excuse me. So, you have to register online. You don't have to, but it speeds up the process when you enter into Greece. And there's a cruising tax that you have to pay. I think ours is like 109 euros or something like that, and that's for 1 month. And so that's a lot better. I had heard that there was an $1,800 deal before, but I'm still constantly amazed at how much bad information I got before I took this trip. So if this is a trip that you guys are considering doing and you're scared off by some of the things, you should know the only thing that people have warned me about that has been correct is the idea of MED being motor every day, that there's usually no wind or too much wind. And that has definitely been the case. But other than that, everything that everyone's told me has been wrong. Anyway, getting back to the customs guys, as I pulled up alongside them with my bag of all the information that I had in there in a Ziploc bag, there's one guy that speaks a little bit of English, and he says, "How much money you have?" I go, "What?" He's on the boat. "How much money do you have?" And I'm like, oh my God, I've heard about this, but I thought it was only going to be in Latin America. Oh my God, we're getting rolled. The officials are coming to get a bribe. And anyway, I don't have a lot of money anyway. I do everything on cards anyway. So I said, yeah, I've got like a couple hundred, maybe 300 euros just to buy beer with. They're like, okay. Then they took my paperwork, and then about an hour and a half goes by or so, and we had to keep they keep drifting down, so they had to keep repositioning the boat, and I had to keep kind of keeping up with them. It was just as well because it rained so hard last night. The dinghy was full of water, so it gave me a good opportunity to pump out the water in the dinghy. But anyway, they were very cordial and they were very nice, and I was feeling pretty proud because I don't think I kind of kept telling myself, although I'm one of those guys that's never broken the law, but I'm always terrified to step over the line, you know. And so I have to say that I was a little apprehensive. It would suck if I did something wrong. And there's still this whole thing about this yacht in transit. Like if they stamp me in, all that yacht in transit stuff goes away. So I got to make sure they didn't do that. But anyway, it just took a long time. And then I was wondering why they came to our boat and not the other boats that were in the anchorage. Then they started asking me questions one by one, where it was like, how much sail area do you have? And I told them that the main sail is, I think it's 420 square feet, but they didn't, square feet doesn't mean anything to them. And I didn't have my phone with me, so I couldn't do a conversion. So they're like, I said, I can go back to the boat and find out for you. And they're like, no. And so then they were wondering, what make is it? And it's written, everything is written down, in the documents. But I was like, it's an island packet. They said, what year? I said 2002. And then after about an hour goes by, there's an older guy that was running the boat up in the fly bridge, but a younger guy the guy who speaks English referred to as my captain. He came out and he goes, Timothy, how old are you? And I said, oh, I'm 59. I just turned 59 like a couple weeks ago. It's okay. So maybe I didn't look like my passport picture or something. I don't know. But they asked me a lot of questions about like how much horsepower I had and how far I could go, how much fuel I carried and all that sort of stuff, and water and stuff like. And I'm thinking, I don't know this for fact, but they could look at all these other boats, and these other boats aren't Italian boats either. I mean, I'm saying that because they're all flying the Italian courtesy flag. They're not flying the ensign. They're not hanging it off the stern. So I'm assuming that they've checked in from other, but they're all kind of basically, like catamarans that are kind of more production ones. I have a feeling that they have to like check so many people a day. And they were really interested in Paquita because Paquita looks pretty good, and I think they really liked it. Anyway, I was super proud. If I've learned anything from this, it's, I've said this before in other videos, prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. And having everything in a bag is good when I go to check in at a marina, when I go to check in for customs and immigration, when I met with the agent, having everything in one bag. And the only things I really need are the passports and the licenses. Other than that, everything else is all copies. And so I, having that ready and going down there and grabbing it and handing it to them, they never came out and, they were in there for like an hour and a half inside the boat. I don't know what they were doing, but then they didn't ask me for any more documentation because I had it all there. So that was kind of cool. And at the end, they all came out there and they're all wishing me a good sail and hoping that they say, be safe going to Greece and come back to Italy again. They were really, really sweet once it got done. I think they felt bad. I don't know, but it might be the American thing. I don't know. I'm probably going to get some people mad at me for saying this, but perhaps not everyone is as willing or prepared to work with them as I was, and they were ready for a fight, and I certainly wasn't going to give them one because I knew I'm not going to win. I like fights that I can win. If I can't win it, I am not fighting. So we have a little news about Lilo. While all this was happening, Lilo was cruising around with Chrysalida, and she was cleaning, and I guess I may have left the toilet seat up, and he fell into the toilet. Yeah, and she was luckily, she said luckily she found it because she couldn't hear him because it was down there. And luckily she found him flopping around in there. There's no water in the toilet. She got him out. She said she washed him with shampoo and she just had him in the sun. But anyway, that's the Lilo story. But yeah, so in my trip so far, I've dealt with 2 sets of officials. Remember the Guardia Civil in Spain? They were totally cool. And these guys over here, I mean, I would have rather not spent an hour and a half of my day with them, getting a little nervous that something was going to go wrong. But in the end, they were super cool. And once again, I think, when I had made the video about the Guardia Civil, many of you commented that, if you don't fight with the authorities, they'll work with you. And these guys were so sweet. They're almost apologetic at the end. At the first, they all had a stiff upper lip, and they were not here to play when I first went over there. And at the end, like I say, they all came out and thanked me and wished me well and all that. So totally cool. So anyway, that's my story. All right, you guys, take care. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe, and as always, I'll see you on the one.